Dawn of War 1 was released in 2004 by Relic Entertainment, and I actually never played it. I was more of an Age of Empires or Command & Conquer's kind of guy, but I have heard a lot of good things about it, so I decided it was time to finally try it out, and boy, I was not disappointed. The game is an RTS set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, which means that when the planet we are currently on inevitably explodes, we will all know that the good guys have won and that everything is well in the galaxy. You play as Gabriel Angelos, captain of the Bloodraven's 3rd Company, a loyalist space marine chapter of unknown genetic origin and founding, best known for stealing everything that isn't nailed down and participating in the sequels. We have been sent to the planet of Tartarus to repel a massive orc invasion led by the orc war boss Orkamungus, which might just be the best name of a bad guy in any game that I have ever heard of. Mission 1 begins with us combat dropping into a horde of orcs currently beating the absolute shit out of the Imperial Guard. The orcs, who aren't flung across the screen thanks to the amazing physics of an early 2000s game, are cut down by torrents of bolter fire from our Space Marine squads. With the first wave defeated, we must now establish our base and destroy the remaining orcs in the area. The first building you construct is the stronghold, because without it you can't actually build anything else. Next is the Chapel Barracks, which is exactly what you think it is. It is a church that houses the Emperor's Angels of Death, his holy warriors. Much like in real life, wars aren't won by individuals, but by squads working in tandem to fulfill a common goal. So instead of controlling individual soldiers, you control squads. These squads start out with 4 members and can be upgraded with 4 more basic marines, a sergeant, an apothecary and/or hero, for a total of 10 members. That is not all, because each squad can also be further upgraded with up to 4 heavy weapons, allowing them to deal with different situations. You have flamers for close combat, heavy bolters for long-range firepower, plasma guns for medium range, and missile launchers to deal with vehicles and buildings. But to get all of these marines and their fancy new toys, we are going to need resources, of which there are 2: requisition and power. Requisition represents your ability to navigate the juggernaut that is the Imperial bureaucracy, for even in the grim darkness of the far future, you still have to fill out the correct paperwork. To get more requisition, you have to capture and hold capture points that are spread around the map. Power, on the other hand, follow a more traditional path and is gained by building up plasma generators. Okay, so with the basics out of the way, let us continue the story. Having been reinforced by 2 more Space Marine squads, we destroy the orc encampment surrounding the spaceport and complete the first mission. This is where we meet our boy, Librarian Isador, the space wizard and right-hand man of Gabriel. We also learned that at some point in the recent past, Gabriel ordered exterminatus of his home planet Cyrene, and that he surprisingly don't really want to talk about it for some strange and mysterious reason.
Do not ask the captain about Cyrene, if you intend to remain in his good graces.
Next, we have to leave the relative safety of the newly liberated starport and engage the orcs gathering in the wilderness before their numbers reach critical mass and they drown the Imperial defenders in a literal green tide of death and cockney. This begins the mandatory stealth section of any 2000s game, which I completely ignored because the developers had failed to take into account my inability to follow even the most basic of instructions. The objective is to take this squad of scout marines who can turn completely invisible to anyone but enemy heroes, sneak through the enemy's lines, kill the local orc boss and call in reinforcements to handle the cleanup. I didn't do that, and instead I shot my way through the entire thing. It is also worth mentioning at this point that Isador wasn't very happy with his plan, and he lobbied for a full frontal assault.
I do not care for all this sneaking about.
I know, old friend. You always have preferred the direct approach.
Which he inadvertently got in the end, since I apparently cannot be bothered to read even what I'm supposed to be doing. Anyway, eventually the orc boss gets 360 no-scoped in the head and we begin the second part of the mission, killing all of the orcs. Listen, if you're looking for mission variety, that was it. The rest of the game is building up a base and grinding everyone else to a paste under your ceramite-clad feet. Anyway, everything is progressing as planned when an ominous apparition appears behind Isador in the next cutscene. That, combined with the Dutch angle, tells us that we are experiencing psychological uneasiness and/or tension. And yes, I got that straight from Wikipedia, so you don't even have to ask. Isador banishes the Spectre with his space juju and we begin Mission 3. Okay, so our assassination of the Orc war boss might kinda had maybe a little bit of the opposite effect than we intended, and instead of breaking the Orc morale, they kinda might just now be overrunning the city defenses and coming here to kill us all. So yeah, we have to concentrate all of our forces and try to weather the green storm that is currently pounding on our walls. Something Isador isn't very happy about.
I do not agree with this course of action. Why are we sitting back waiting for the orcs to strike? We should attack! Surely it is better than doing nothing.
But he eventually agrees once we throw the space art of war in his face, because as everybody knows, robust girly man can do nothing wrong, which is why he has been napping for the last 10,000 years. To help in our desperate defense of the city, we have been given access to heavy bolter turrets and landmines, both of which we are hardly going to use, because in my oh so humble opinion, erecting defenses is inherently defeatist. In other words, stop building defenses and start handing out guns to the father, the guard. That's right, for this mission we have been reinforced by the Imperial Guard. Individually they are much weaker than our Marines, but they make up for their relative weakness by having way more bodies to physically stop the enemy's bullets with. Our goal for this mission is pushing the orcs out and making sure that they never set their disgusting mushroom feet within city limits ever again. A task that was made significantly easier when we found a crashed machine cult shrine.
Emperor be praised. The machine cult is still intact.
Having found it, we get access to the first and only vehicle you will need through your entire playthrough. The Dreadnought, which in essence is a walking coffin armed to the teeth, which is able to deliver both crush, burn and motion damage at the same time. With the Dreadnought on our team, we made short work of the remaining orcs and drove them out of the city, finishing the third mission.
We've been waiting to fight these marine boys, and we's gonna stomp them bad good. To do that, we need the strength of all the boys, not a small weak mob of rats like yous boys.
I love the orcs, man. I might be an Imperium guy in everyday conversation, but my heart is definitely green. Mission 4 begins with a bombshell revelation. The orcs are working with the forces of chaos. More specifically, they are working with the Chaos Lord Bale and the sorcerer Sindri. Also, the Chaos Sorcerer looks suspiciously like the apparition trying to roll up on a boy earlier in the game. In this mission, we have to cut off the head of the snake, so to speak, and kill war boss Orkamungus. To do this, we get access to assault marines, who are all jetpack-wearing, chainsword-swinging adrenaline junkies capable of jumping over mountains and eviscerating anyone they run into on the other side. We also get the Whirlwind Artillery, who are basically the Calliope from World War II. It is capable of delivering massive damage to buildings and flings any unit it hits across the screen. Yeah, nice try, Gearbox, but my heart belongs to another. Next, we build up our base and start exploring the map. This is the first mission in which I start to actively use the cover mechanics. Yeah, that is right, there are cover mechanics in this game, which is a fact that I completely ignored so far. We push through the valley and find ourselves outside Orkamungus' base, where he ever so kindly sends his pet Squiggoth to trample half of my army into the dirt. With the monster dead and his pet Squiggoth too, the orc invasion is pretty much shattered, and all that is left is some scattered warbands that will eventually be mopped up by the local guard. But as we are cleaning up, one of our scouts reported sighting of a Space Marine dropship.
But we saw a dropship leave the area. Captain,
She bore the 8-pointed star.
The mark of the ruinous powers of chaos.
Conveniently timed with this disturbing revelation is the arrival of Inquisitor Mordecai Toth, who has some rather important news.
You and your men must leave Tartarus. Now. This warp storm could trap us here for a month or for a century.
A chaos storm is on its way and the Inquisitor wants us to evacuate the planet. And of course, Gabriel gives the Inquisitor what ships he has to help with the evacuation, but he and his brothers will hunt down the heretics and thwart their wicked plans. Now, the Inquisitor isn't very happy about this and he begins questioning our motives and brings up Cyrene, Gabriel's home world, and the Exterminatus, his organization so kindly performed on his behest. This makes me kinda wonder what terrible things had taken root in order for a man to condemn his own world to death. And since they don't tell you in the campaign, I decided to do some digging. And yeah, it turns out that they wanted to embrace the heretical ideals of democracy, free trade and equality for the psychically gifted. They were Space America and Gabriel nuked them for it. I fucking love the Warhammer universe. Also, the Eldar has shown up.
The humans are coming your way in full force. You should hear their heavy feet long before you see them, and smell them long before that.
This is why nobody likes them. That and the fact that they are arrogant, secretive, riddle-giving bastards. Anyway, moving on. Next, our scouts find traces that someone has been digging in our vicinity. And we suspect that it is the forces of chaos we are looking for, because it doesn't look like shit, so it's probably not the orcs. As we search the nearby area, we run into the aforementioned elves who smugly hold the high ground, thinking that they have won by default. But they have underestimated the power of boxes. To thwart the ninjas suffering from an extreme bout of localized megagravity, we utilize the Rhino Transport. This is a transport vehicle that allows you to travel longer distances considerably faster and safer than walking. And after this mission, we will use it exactly 0 more times, because who needs speed when you can be one with the blessed machine?
From the moment I understood the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me.
Anyway, having released our rhinos back into the wild, so to speak, we eventually find some Eldar fighting some orcs. Why are they fighting? We don't know. And more importantly, we don't care, so we kill them both. And then we finally make it to the dig site, where we find an altar to chaos.
Brother Isidore, you have an hour to study the altar. Document everything as is our tradition. Then burn it, lest its taint infect us all.
But Gabriel, there is much to learn from here. We should not be too eager to...
Learn what? Chaos does not teach. It misleads and it betrays. There is nothing to learn here, save for our next course.
And once more, he isn't very happy with our decision, but he understands because he has been our loyal friend for 30 years and we trust each other implicitly. Unfortunately, our transports break down during his investigation, which turns out to be a blessing in disguise because Isidore now knows where we have to go.
That mountain pass is the perfect location for an ambush.
5 minutes later, we walk into an ambush. In this mission, we must find yet another chaos dig site. And to make things a little bit more interesting, you will be under constant attack from both Eldar and Orc forces. The Eldar can be stopped if you destroy the webway portals they have dotted around the map. The Orcs, on the other hand, will just keep coming, because they're orcs and that's what they do. To help us deal with this, we have been reinforced by a few Imperial Guard squads and a couple of tanks. As things go, this is the first mission that feels like you are actually playing against an opponent instead of just battering down static defenses. It's a pretty good one and I had a lot of fun playing it. With the last Eldar defenses swept to the side, we find out that they've been trying to destroy a mystical chaos marker.
By the placement of the charges, it is likely they plan to collapse this area, burying the marker and anyone near it.
They failed. Isidore, study the marker and see where it leads us next.
Captain, Inquisitor Toth has arrived.
Of course he has.
By inquisitorial edict, I am taking control of the planet Tartarus. All requests for planetary resources, including its military, will go through me, Captain. From this point on, you and your men are on your own.
Having been cut off from outside support, it is now up to us to find a key located inside the ruined city of Saint Lou-Remar, a task which is made all the more difficult since the Eldar has summoned the Avatar of Cain, a literal piece of their god of war. And on top of that, they are determined to treat this mission like it's Stalingrad 4.0. In this mission, we are introduced to the relic points. They function much like regular capture points with the added benefit of unlocking the usage of your highest tier units, the Terminators, and the Deep Strike function. Terminators are basically regular Marines but on mega spacecraft. They have way more armor, way more firepower, and they do not fuck around. Deep Strike allows you to teleport units you have built in the orbital relay building anywhere you have vision, which is kinda cool, until you realize that they will teleport in at base strength without any upgrades, which is significantly less cool. So we destroyed the Avatar, who immediately attacked us without too much of a problem. Well, at least if you don't count the guy that got impaled on its massive flaming sword. We capture all the relics, systematically grind the Eldar forces into the dirt, and confront the Farseer.
Kill me, obliterate my body, and cast my name to the wind. But you must heed me. Bury that which lies beneath my feet. It will undo us all. I may be your enemy in this, but we both have a greater foe.
Isidore, as usual, counsels decisive action. But before we can come to a decision, the key is taken by the Chaos Sorceress Sindri, causing the Farseer to bitch and moan even more.
He stole a key to the shadows of this world, to the evil horror that lies within.
Tell me what this key does.
You do not know. Your Inquisitor keeps you on a short leash.
With the key gone, we have to find Sindri and stop his inevitable metamorphosis into a demon. Okay, I don't actually know if that is his plan, but let's be honest here, Chaos only have two plans, and that is turning into a demon and hating on Big E. That is it.
Why? How have I failed?
You were stupid enough to personally deliver ill news to Lord Bale.
But to get to him, we first have to traverse a massive, impassable chasm, splitting the city in two. Space Marines might be the ultimate warriors and the result of the Emperor's genius, but it is still the early 2000s and climbing has yet to be invented. So we build a whole bunch of assault marines for the second time in the game, clean up the heretic forces, and storm the unholy ritual taking place inside the local cathedral. As we enter its holy sanctum, we make a horrible discovery. We have been betrayed. The local guard units have turned from the Emperor's light, so we do the only thing we can. We order an orbital bombardment. Unfortunately, in the ensuing chaos, the Chaos Lords make their escape, but all is not lost. The Inquisitor makes an appearance and finally tells us what is going on.
What is this artifact?
A stone, called the Maledictum. It contains a creature of great evil, a creature of chaos itself. The stone imprisons a demon, one of untold power.
Yep, that is right, there is a demon currently imprisoned on Tartarus, which is a fact that most people with even a passable interest in Greek mythology will already have figured out. This is actually a pretty hard mission. We have to take and hold 4 relic points surrounding the ritual site. So we push on, purge all of the chaos filth on the map, and capture all of the capture points, starting a 3-minute countdown. We now have to defend the points from the chaos forces. The problem is, we already killed all of them. I think I'm playing these missions wrong. During all of this, Isidore has been mysteriously absent, and we don't actually know where he is.
Come with me. You have new orders. We know of a hidden way into the temple. Tell no one else.
But since he is our brother and friend, we trust that he has nothing but our best interest at heart.
There it is, as I promised. Yours for the taking.
Man, they say that men do not have feelings, but that old friend cut me straight to the core, right in the feels. Isador have betrayed us, so naturally we abandon our quest for the demon and dedicate everything we have to complete our own agenda, which is exactly what Toth have been accusing us of doing this entire time. When we eventually find the chaos-powered space wizard, the epic fight I had been envisioning turned into somewhat of a street execution. We rolled up on him and we left him face down in the street before moving on to the last mission.
This is the fate of traitors. Remember this, and do not stray. If you do, I will be ready to render you the same service.
At this point, Tartarus has turned into a hellscape. Everyone still alive is either a heretic or a demon. So together with our temporary Eldar allies, we set out to kill the Chaos Sorceress Sindri before his demon-ascended ass can escape the planet. The fighting was hard and many of our brothers fell in order to stop the foul demon spawn. But in the end, we curb-stomped his ass into the ground and we were awarded with the final cutscene of the game.
Human! Do not destroy the stone! You will doom us all!
Ignore her, Captain. Destroy the stone before it leads others to ruin.
You know not what you do! We cannot allow this. Take this human down!
No!
Fool! You have damned us all!
Well done, Captain. Let us bid haste, brothers. The fleet is about to depart and leave us stranded.
I am free. You have my thanks.
Show yourself, demon.
I will. Soon. Until then, go forth and spread word of my return.
I am not your herald, warp spawn.
Are you not? You released me.
No, I destroyed the stone.
Yes. And had you done so sooner, you might well have vanquished me. Instead, you contributed to my release with your every sacrifice.
Sacrifice? What sacrifice?
This planet was an altar, human. To the war god, Korn. Sindri arranged the Orc invasion, knowing the Space Marines would come to end their threat. Every death was a sacrifice toward my release. And I must say, your contributions were many and magnificent. Isador, Bale, and finally, Sindri himself. Without so many offerings, I would have remained trapped. I thank you. I will spare your life for now. Yes, free. And know I will soon come to claim you all.
Then come and find your judgment waiting. You have escaped captivity, only to face annihilation. I know you now.
We had been played all along. The Orc invasion, the Eldar, the Chaos rituals, it has all been smaller parts in a bigger plan to release an ancient demon from its prison. And that is the end of Dawn of War 1. It's not very long, but I thoroughly enjoy my time with it. 10 out of 10 would release a greater Demon of Chaos again. And that is all I got, so thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace!
You are a fool, Gabriel. You know you are no match for me.
Of all my brothers, why you? You were stronger than this.
I am stronger than you ever imagined. I can feel the universe tremble at my approach. Even the gods know my name.
No one will remember you, traitor. I will see to that.
Pathetic. You were great once, before doubt addled your will. Before you rendered judgment on Cyrene. Before you murdered the innocent and guilty, all in one stroke. You weak, sorry fool! How does it feel to have slain millions? To have betrayed your own family?
I betrayed no one. Innocents die so that humanity may live. I ended their suffering, as I will end yours.
You have beaten me. I cannot believe it. I was wrong, Gabriel. So wrong. I thought I was strong. Strong enough to control it. I wanted to use the power for good, for the Imperium. You must see that. You must give me the chance to make amends, to seek redemption.
If redemption is what you seek, then that is what I will give you. This is the fate of traitors. Remember this, and do not stray. If you do, I will be ready to render you the same service.